what is up, you guys? This is Dre the Gamer here. Welcome back to our video. This is a slightly different type of video than I usually do on this channel, but today, everyone, we're going to be taking a review and a short drive of this Chevy Trax that I have on loan to me temporarily. Anyway, so a little bit about this vehicle. This is a 2020 Chevy Trax LT, I believe. It is the base model. So it's base at the base. The only, I'd say, feature it has that is not standard is the rear windows and the rear glass are tinted. I would say that's the only feature it has. It does have a backup camera and it does have Apple CarPlay, but those are both standard. Now, this Chevy Trax is most closely based on the Opel Mocha, which is literally the same thing as the Buick Encore. The Opel Mocha and the Buick Encore look exactly alike, except the Buick Encore is just the American clone of the Opel Mocha, which is sold in Germany, and I believe the Opel Mocha is made in Germany, and then the Buick Encore is just the American clone of it. They look exactly identical, and this is the cheaper version of the Buick Encore. You get the Chevy Trax. Now, like I said, this one is the base of the base. It is a very small, it's a compact crossover, or a compact sport utility vehicle if you want to get fancy. So, coming into the interior, we have power windows, power locks, power mirrors, which surprises me. Once again, as you see, hard plastic everywhere, everything. So, I mean, like I said, this is the base model, so we don't have a sunroof. We don't even have a sunglass holder. No center console, but there is a armrest for the driver. Manual parking brake. Have not seen one of these in a while. Cloth seats, not heated or cool. Now, you do have Bluetooth here, as well as Apple CarPlay. You also do have cruise control here. This is not adaptive cruise control, but GM generally does not offer adaptive cruise control on any of its vehicles. It only started offering adaptive cruise control maybe 2-3 years ago, and even then it is only available on the top trim models. Unfortunately, you do have auto low beams, but the high beams are manual. Now, one thing I do not get about the high beams, so the low beams are automatic, but you push the stock forward, it comes back, and then the high beams are set, and then you pull it towards you, that turns the high beams off. Really weird. Anyways, front seat, both you have power lumbar, but everything else is manual. Small cubby here in the door. You can actually fit some drinks in there. I don't think we have a special sound system in this one, really. I think it's just the cheapest one they had. It does not sound very good. I will demonstrate that later on when we take it for a drive. Now, coming back to the back seat. Things are not much better back here. We have, like I said, no center console. I don't believe we even have any plugs back here. Yep, no plugs, just another cup holder. So you do have a total of 4 cup holders. You got a seat pocket here, and then you have another seat pocket here, but this one is totally different. So the whole back of the seat is actually totally different. So I don't know if you guys can notice that, but it is weird. Maybe the owner of the car just took a seat from a different Chevy Trax, plopped it in here. I don't really know. So we do have these super old school locks. I don't think anyone has ever seen these since 2004, maybe. Coming into the back seat, as you can see, there is not a lot of legroom. I am 5'8", and I just about fit behind myself. So, yep, I am 5'8", and I have maybe a couple of inches of legroom, just enough to maybe sit comfortably. Headroom is okay, but if you are taller than 6 foot, good luck being comfortable back here. I'm 5'8", I fit back here fine. Then we do have a center armrest with 2 cup holders in it. Making our way to the back, you can see that we do not have a lot of room back here whatsoever. I have my stuff back here, and the trunk is just about full. I will take all this out and I will give you guys a shot of what it looks like without anything in it. But yeah, you're maybe fitting no more than 3 suitcases back here, if I had to be honest with you. This car is not the most spacious. Front seat, nothing special. Also a manual like the driver's seat. Now, I will admit the car is a little bit dirty, but I do have a dirt driveway, and it is also still winter here in upstate New York. Spring just rolled around, the snow is starting to melt, and that means mud. All right, we are in the driver's seat now of the 2020 Chevy Trax. Let's start it up. Still a key to start, even though this is a 2020, but it is a base model. So, pretty straightforward dash. You change the information screen using this little notch here. So, as you can see, that is how it changes. And then you can trip to vehicle also using that. That is something to note. I am a little confused by that. Now, another thing that I do find annoying about this Chevy Trax is how the cruise control is on the left side of the steering wheel and not the right. They've flip-flopped them, basically. I mean, compared to how it is in most cars. In most cars, you have the cruise control on this side and you have the volume on this side. But driving home from work last night, I was trying to turn on Fox News. Next thing I know, the cruise control turns off. So that is something to note. It is not adaptive. Like I said, it is just normal, conventional cruise control. It's not adaptive cruise control because this is a base model. And to top it off, GM generally does not offer adaptive cruise control in any of its vehicles except the top trim. Now, this one is also only front-wheel drive. It is powered by a 1.4-liter turbocharged Ecotec, mated to a 6-speed automatic with manual shift. So once you are in manual, you would change gears by pressing this little button here. So that's also something to note. So yeah, the 1.4-liter turbocharged Ecotec does not make the most amount of power, and the 6-speed automatic does not do it any favors. All right, without further ado, let's take this 2020 Chevy Trax for a spin. All right, we are in the 2020 Chevy Trax, and now we're going to take it for a spin. So let's start her up. Got a switchblade key here. So yeah, another annoying thing that I noted about the shifter is I frequently, when I put it in drive, I ended up putting it in manual mode. And you adjust the manual mode with this plus and minus. But yeah, I do frequently, when I try to put it in drive, I end up putting it in manual. But I always just flick it back into drive. So that is something to note. So the ride quality is on the firmer side. I wouldn't call it sporty, but it is firm but not too hard. Climate control is pretty straightforward. No dual zone climate control or anything fancy, just these 3 knobs. This is a LT, I believe that is the base model. I'm not sure if in the higher end trim you get dual zone climate, but maybe you do. If I'm wrong, let me know, guys, in the comments. You got a fair amount of traffic here for a Monday afternoon. Kind of figured, you know, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I figured people would be at work, not out and about, but each to his own, I guess. And this isn't even like, I mean, I know it looks like a busy street, but this isn't like a huge, you know, part of town. This is like the middle of nowhere. This is like the outskirts of town. This isn't anywhere near the city center or anything, so I'm kind of shocked why there's so many people here. There is a mall down the road that way, about a mile, but Monday afternoon, I don't imagine many people going to the mall. So yeah, acceleration is nothing to really write home about. It does 0 to 60 in about 10 seconds. The 6-speed automatic transmission is slow shifting, and at times it can shift rather hard. So it is not the most fun to drive. But this is a very good car for, you know, short trips in town, like short 5-minute drives, you know, in town. It's not a good, I wouldn't call it a good car for, you know, long road trips. But as I said earlier, I fit in the back seat perfectly fine behind myself. But anyone over 6 foot, I'm not too sure about. I'm only 5'8", and I fit fine behind myself. But yeah, it is very good on fuel. Right now in town, we're getting 31.6 miles per gallon, as you can see there on our urban test loop, and that is very good for a crossover. This one though is only front wheel drive, but it's still very good. Classic Sentra. Sentra and Altima drivers are like some of the worst drivers on the road. So yeah, this here is practically the edge of the city. You could say, I mean, you could tell people that this is like a rural town in the middle of nowhere. Just look at the place, you know, it's just countryside, just woods all around. You know, a couple of roads that go off it, but that's about it. Cop right there in a Dodge Durango. Yeah, they use those around here a lot. You gotta look really carefully. You can usually see the lights in their grill, and they usually have a grill that's aftermarket. Yeah, around here in the capital region, many cops use undercover cop cars, like Dodge Durangos and Ford Explorers. There's Crossgates Mall. They use those as a they use them and they mark them very poorly. Like, you can only see, it says, you know, police department on the side. If you look at it really closely at a certain angle, you will see it. But generally it's hard to see, so they try and do that to blend in. So that is something to note if you're ever in the capital region of New York. Cops like to do that. But yeah, I've never really had any trouble from the cops. Cops are pretty chill for the most part. I haven't had any run-ins with them. But there is a town that where they are actually pretty strict on shit. All right, getting on the highway, we'll see how it accelerates. Wasn't really an intense acceleration, but once we merge onto our highway, you'll see what I mean. Yeah, it's not the quickest thing in the world. It's a 1.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder that puts out 138 horsepower and 148 foot-pounds of torque, so it's not the quickest when it comes to accelerating. Got a fuck ton of cars here. This is gonna be interesting. All right, here goes nothing. That was my foot to the floor. Not the quickest thing in the world, because yeah, my Subaru, you know, you put your foot down 2/3 of the way, you are fucking gone. I mean, that is a 6-cylinder Subaru Outback, so obviously that is why, but this thing is really underpowered. But I feel like if they offered it with a manual transmission in the United States, it would be a lot more less repulsive to drive. You know, it wouldn't make it fast, but it would make it more fun to drive if it were available with a automatic, or I mean with a stick. I know for a fact it is in Europe, but for some reason not here. And it's a shame. I really wish there were more crossovers that you could get with a manual. But yeah, you can. Wind noise is something else to note about the cabin. I mean, I'm doing 75 miles an hour right now. I can hear the wind in here. Not something I usually, you know, it has wind noise, okay? It's a little bit louder than most vehicles. That is something to know. Oh, there goes an Amtrak train. No adaptive cruise control in this one. Being a GM product, it does not have adaptive cruise control. Yeah, General Motors only started offering adaptive cruise control maybe just a couple of years ago in its vehicles. And even then, it's only available on the Premier trim. So you have to pay an arm and a leg if you really want it. Now, and Subaru, on the other hand, started offering it over a decade ago in the Outback and Legacy. And it was ahead of its time for then, because even then the original eyesight had the ability to work in stop and go traffic. Our exit is coming up. Feel every little bump. Like I said, the ride is firm. I wouldn't go as far to call it hard. It's not the worst riding vehicle I've ever driven, but it's definitely the slowest. Ow. Yeah, you don't even see the bumps really until like the last second, but you can sure as hell feel them. All right. Well, that wraps up our drive of the 2020 Chevy Trax. So my final thoughts for the 2020 Chevy Trax LS is that it is a fairly cheap and budget-friendly compact crossover utility vehicle. A new 2023 Chevy Trax starts out at $21,700. With that, yours will be similar equipped as to mine is. But you can also purchase a 2023 Mazda CX-30 for only $22,950, as well as you can also purchase a 2023 Subaru Crosstrek for only $23,645. Alongside with the Subaru Crosstrek, all-wheel drive and Subaru eyesight will be standard, both of which features that were not standard with the Chevy Trax because this one is only front-wheel drive, nor does it have any safety features. Another compact crossover utility vehicle you can get is a 2023 Toyota Corolla Cross from only $23,060. Another thing to note about this 2023 Chevy Trax is that it is very good on fuel economy. I averaged out about 32.7 miles per gallon in mixed driving. Well, anyways, I guess that wraps up for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please subscribe if you guys want more videos like these, and have a good day.